Welcome, fight fans, to the Pugilist Place. I'm Lawrence Mejia. My guest today is undefeated prospect, middleweight Richard Brewart Jr., repping the city of Rancho Cucamonga. Richard, thank you for being here. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Always a privilege to get the chance to speak with you. My first question is, I want to ask you, how are you feeling physically?
I'm 100% now. I'm way better. I had a long recovery, so physically I'm 1,000% now. I'm ready to fight as soon as possible.
So you're hungry to get back in the gym. And the reason for you being kind of on the shelf was that you had a knee injury. It was something that kind of was lingering. You had fought through it through a couple of your previous fights. So how did you sustain that injury?
The doctor was telling me it was just more of a wear and tear, just over time. All the twisting, pivoting, and everything that we do, just it caught up with me. It's not the first knee surgery I had, honestly. It's the second one. I had my first one when I was 16 on the same knee too. Same problem, but this time it was a lot more to it. It was more than I had a couple tears and stuff that they had to fix, but it's fixed now and we're ready to go.
So is this something that like they have to like, do they have to drain it, or is it like just icing it? What kind of treatment?
No, I had to have surgery. I had surgery back in October.
And so, but before the surgery, like to kind of maintain it, what kind of things were you doing to kind of get it right?
Yeah, I would just try to ice it as much as possible when it would bother me, because at times it would just swell up in the middle of working out. It would just swell up and I couldn't do anything. So it was just like, I ice it. I'll be cool the next day for a little bit, and it kept bothering me more and more. And then I finally just said, you know what, I need to get this taken care of and fixed.
What was the surgery like?
Man, it was crazy. The surgery part was, I don't really remember it, obviously, since I was put to sleep and everything, but I just remember getting home and the recovery was long. I was in bed for a couple of weeks, not walking, just a lot of swelling and stuff. And then finally, once I got back up, did my therapy, and it's 100% now.
And so you mentioned it was a second surgery on your knee. Was it the first time that you had gone under?
No, it's just I went under both times.
So you're all loopy from all the anesthesia and all that other good stuff.
Yeah.
So now you're in the recovery portion of this. What has your recovery been like?
Oh, my recovery's good. I did rehab, so I did physical therapy, as I should say. I did 6 weeks of physical therapy, and they tested me. They did a test at the end of the 6 weeks, and my right knee is stronger than my left knee, and that's the knee that's never been I never had a problem with this. So now my recovery came out better than what the normal would be.
So now, yeah, it actually got even stronger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We've seen clips of you back in the gym. We're all excited to see you get back in there and do your thing.
Yeah.
When are you planning? What's your expected return to the ring?
We're looking in the month of April. I should be back. So a few months, 2-3 months, but April for sure, I'll be back in the ring.
So big news for you last year, I think it was June, you signed with Thompson Boxing Promotions, a huge accomplishment. How did you find out about that?
I've been fighting with Thompson since my second pro fight. So we've been talking about it, and it was just due time. I was fighting whatever they gave me. I never turned down a fight, nothing like that. I always performed. Had one fight that was kind of like up and down. Like I didn't look the best. I didn't have the right training for it. But Alex over there at Thompson and Mr. Thompson, they love me and I love working with them. So it was the best decision I made, and I signed with Thompson.
How did you and your family celebrate?
Back in the gym, some dinner. That's really it. We didn't do much because I had just fought, and I was planning on fighting in August. So I fought in June of last year. Then I signed in July, and then I was supposed to fight in August. But after I signed, that's when my knee really started acting up, and I went to get it checked, and they were like, "Dude, you need surgery. Like, it's not gonna get any better." So I didn't really do much then because I was getting ready to fight at the point.
Right. So you were back in the lab. You really didn't take any time to celebrate your accomplishment, but that's the kind of guy you are. You're strictly about your craft, no nonsense. And Thompson Boxing has produced so many great fighters: Yanni Perez, Josecito Lopez, Timothy Bradley, Donnie Roman, to name a few. Like that is, like I mentioned before, a big accomplishment. And you fought with them since the beginning of your career. But what does that mean to you now? Now you're not just fighting on their cards. You are a Thompson fighter. What does that mean to you to be promoted by Thompson Boxing?
That means a lot because there's a lot of guys in my position that are fighting to try to get signed, and they're just not getting picked up. It's hard to get signed. Like, it's hard to get anything nowadays. So, I mean, you got to be one of those guys. You got to be good. You got to be ready. So it feels amazing. Like, that was like one of the biggest things I was looking for at that time. And then now we're just looking for bigger fights and headed to that title.
No, you're right. Like, it's one thing to be a free agent and then just kind of just be out there trying to get on cards, trying to make a name for yourself. But when you have a promoter, but not just any promoter, Thompson Boxing behind you, that is a real feather in your cap. You're just 23 years old and you've accomplished so much in your career. Who's responsible for your success to this point?
My family. My dad's been there through day in and day out. He goes to the gym with me every day, pushes me to the limits that I didn't know I could be pushed to. My mom, my sister, everybody. Henry, of course. Henry's been a big part. When I started with Henry, I was nowhere near where I am now. Skill-wise, mental-wise, physical-wise, everything. Henry got me to a whole new level. So Henry has a big deal in it also, of course.
Right. And you're exactly right. Your dad is always there with you at the gym, even when it's like 110 degrees during the summer, and your mom is always there, and your sister all suited up there during your fights at the DoubleTree in Ontario. So it's a team thing you got going on there. What's your relationship with, obviously, one of the young fighters, amateurs that Henry has, Pau? What's your relationship with Pau?
Me and Pau have gone back since, I was like 12, 13, and Pau was like 5. Me and Pau were been training together since he started. Me and Pau are super close. That's like my little brother. That's like, we've been together since day one. There's nothing could split us up. We've been to different gyms. We were somewhere else before we came to Henry. We both ended up at Henry at the same time, and this is where we're at, and this is where we're going to stay.
Yeah, no, it definitely feels like that older brother, younger brother kind of relationship that you guys are real tight.
Yeah, big time.
So before your injury and your last 3 fights, you really stepped up in competition. Your last 3 opponents had a combined 1 loss. What kind of a statement do you think you made in taking and defeating those last 3 opponents?
Man, you look at guys that are at my where I'm at now, 10-0, 8-0, 9-0, whatever the case is. The first guy I fought, I think I was 7-0 and he was 8-0. That was my step up. That's when I started fighting those 3 guys. You look at guys that are 7-0 nowadays, and they're not fighting guys like that. Or it's just they're saying no. Nobody wants to fight anybody. They're trying to get to the best they could get is their record. Everybody's worried about their record. They're not worried about what's going to help them be ready for the later. Because right now, me fighting guys like this is going to help me be more ready for bigger fights down the road, because I went through a lot of adversity. I've been knocked down, got cut, things like that a lot of fighters don't push through because they've never been in that situation. And instead of going through that situation early, they're going to go through it later in a bigger fight and not understand what to do or freak out over it or just anything in that case. And at that time, I'll already be ready. I already know what to expect. I already know what to go through. So it was hard. Don't get me wrong. It's very hard, but I'm happy that I did it because it's going to make me better at the end of the day.
It's really interesting that you rationalize it that way, that, you're going through all these trials and tribulations now as you're developing, and once you become more seasoned because of them, you'll know how to interact, or you'll know how to maneuver your way through pitfalls. Whereas it's one thing now, as opposed to it being a title fight or fight number 20 on Showtime or some other, where the eyes of the country are all on you.
Yeah, exactly.
And is that something I get the sense that from Henry's all about not protecting guys. He's about giving you guys opportunities. Is that accurate? Like, it seemed like no matter, like,
Henry's about protecting, but if the opportunity presents itself and it's the right opportunity, we're going to take it. There's no reason not to, We're not going to, I'm 10-0 right now. We're not going to take a 20-something-0 guy that's way further right now. Obviously, we're going to build to that. But if the opportunity presents itself and it's the right opportunity, we're gonna take it. But no, he's definitely about protecting and making sure his fighter's taken care of well, gets to where it needs to be. He definitely is about that though.
Right. Like I'm thinking like Marcos Hernandez, like when an opportunity presents itself that he's like, all right, these don't come around very often.
Yep.
We got to get it.
Yeah, that guy fights. He never says no. That's one thing you say. He's tough and he'll never say no. It doesn't matter who he's fighting. He's fighting.
And he's always a live dog, no matter who he's against. He's a tough out.
Yeah.
So something that you've been very vocal about on your social media in the past is you wanting to fight Joey Spencer. Joey Spencer is somebody who is a PBC prospect. You guys are both middleweights. You guys are kind of at a similar stage in your careers, similar ages, maybe within a year or two. So why is that somebody you would like to fight in the future?
I mean, let's put it this way. He's getting the TV time to fight almost the same guys, and maybe even less of a caliber guys I'm fighting now. Right now, I'm fighting with Thompson. We don't need to fight on TV. We don't need, they have the live stream, but everybody looks at it as, oh, he's bigger because he's on TV. Oh, he's better because he's on TV. That's not how it works in boxing, like skill-wise, I think I'm better. I'm not saying he doesn't know how to fight, but I'm definitely better all around. I think skill-wise, smartness, everything. That's just the fight I want. It's just that'll be my breakout fight. He's him as the rising star, the rising prospect for PBC, but he's beatable. We've seen it in some of his fights. He doesn't look the best. I give him credit. He's good. He can fight, but he doesn't want to fight me.
Have you ever met him before?
No, I've never met him. I've just seen him fight. So the first time I meet him is when we step in that ring. That's when I want to meet him.
That's interesting. No, it's interesting because of how closely you guys are aligned. Like he's not a guy that's like 10 years older than you or even 5 years older. You guys are real close and kind of contemporaries. That'd be interesting to see down the road if you guys actually meet up inside the ring. How do you beat him? What do you think? What do you see? Like, I know you feel like you're more talented. You have, even though he's good, you're better. How do you think you are successful against him in the ring?
Just being smart, boxing, not falling for he throws the same punches, throws the same jab, or he throws the same leaping left hook that jumps from the outside. That's what he looks for. He looks for it in every single fight. So I'll be that guy to take it away from him and show him that he doesn't have it all. He doesn't have it all like they're making him out to be.
So last question. I know you're right now, you're getting back in the gym. Your time is shorter than it was before. What's something that I should be watching on TV, on Netflix or something? What's something interesting that I should tune in and watch?
Man, they just came out with a new movie. It's called Ray Donovan. I don't know if you ever seen the show. They've had a show called Ray Donovan.
On Showtime, right?
Yeah, on Showtime. They just came out with a movie of it. And I started watching it, but I haven't finished it yet. But it's really good from what I've
good?
seen. Yeah.
All right, I gotta check it out. Thank you so much, Richard. We always appreciate your time. Where can fight fans follow you on social media?
Instagram under my name, Richard Brewart Jr. all together. That's really what I use. Even Facebook under my name, Richard Brewart Jr. also. But those are the two main social medias that I use. Mainly Instagram. You guys will see all my fights posted there, training, anything, my daily life. That's where I post everything. So mainly Instagram under Richard Brewart Jr. No spaces or anything altogether.
Thank you again, Richard. We always appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you back in the ring real soon. Take care.
Thank you.